Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to be discussing Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury and why you should read it if you haven't already. This was first published in 1953. It runs approximately 194 pages long. It's not too long of a read. And it's a book that I didn't read in high school, unfortunately. I wish I did. I know a lot of other people did. But when I finally got around to reading it, I thought, man, this should be mandatory for every single high school student to read because it's the most powerful book I've ever read on the importance of books, which is, if you want to get kids to read, giving them the most powerful book on the importance of books might be a good place to start. It's also one of the most powerful books I've ever read on the importance of free speech. So, an incredible book. I can't wait to talk about it with you guys today. As always, I'll give you guys a quick synopsis of what the book is about, spoiler-free, of course. I'll give you guys a couple films, a couple other books that I would pair along with your reading of Fahrenheit 451. But before we get into all of that, I want to give you guys a couple words on the author himself. Ray Bradbury was one of the most influential and beloved American writers of the 20th century. Renowned for his boundless imagination and lyrical prose that blurred the lines between science fiction, fantasy, and reality. Raised during the Great Depression in Illinois, Bradbury never attended college but devoured the contents of the public libraries, later crediting them as his true alma mater. His love for books, film, and storytelling shaped his electric body of work, ranging from horror tales to speculative fiction, to essays on creativity and art. Bradbury's career blossomed during the golden age of science fiction, yet his works often transcended the genre, earning him praise from literary critics and popular audiences alike. Fahrenheit 451 stands as his most enduring legacy, a prophetic and fiercely human meditation on censorship, conformity, and the fragile endurance of literature. Bradbury insisted his novel was not simply about government tyranny, but about the voluntary abandonment of books and intellectual curiosity in the face of convenience and distraction, a theme that has only grown more urgent in the digital age. Another fun fact about Ray Bradbury is he wrote Fahrenheit 451 on a typewriter he rented by the hour at the UCLA Powell Library. He paid 10 cents per half hour, completing the first draft in just 9 days for a grand total of $9.80. Writing it within the confines of a library about a future where books are banned gave the novel a poetic irony from its inception. So yeah, hopefully that gives you guys a little bit more background on the man himself. I will say Ray Bradbury is not one of my favorite writers of all time, but he's one of the most influential and inspiring writers I've ever come across. He didn't go to college. He didn't go to university and get some sort of fancy degree. He didn't have a big name from a big family or anything like that. He just loved books. He loved stories. He loved watching films, a lot like me, and he went out there and he created some of the greatest science fiction of all time. So I do love this book, don't get me wrong. I just haven't read enough from Ray Bradbury to consider him as one of my favorites of all time, but I will say he's one of the most influential and inspiring writers I've ever come across. So now I want to give you guys just a quick, brief, spoiler-free synopsis of what the book is actually about. In a grim, hyper-technological future where books are outlawed and firemen are tasked not with extinguishing flames, but with burning any remains of written knowledge. Guy Montag lives a life of quiet complicity. He is a fireman, content with his role in preserving social obedience until a chance encounter with a curious, free-spirited woman named Clarice ignites within him a dangerous question. What if books aren't the enemy? As Montag's once placid world begins to unravel through disturbing encounters with his emotionally hollow wife, the sterile hum of mass media, and the chilling authoritarian zeal of his superior, Captain Beatty, he is forced to confront the cost of his complicity and the true meaning of freedom. Fahrenheit 451 is a masterful and poetic portrait of a society that has traded depth for distraction, comfort for conformity, and truth for oblivion. It is a haunting, fiercely relevant call to preserve the written word and the vital spark of individual thought. So hopefully that gives you guys a little idea of what the book is about, and hopefully I sold you guys on going out and reading it. I think the reason why I wasn't given this book in high school is because it's a little bit similar to 1984. It's got a lot of similar themes, and I feel like my teacher just had to pick one or the other. I'm kind of glad that they picked 1984 because that's one of my favorite books I've ever read, and it's one of the greatest books of all time. Not to say that this one isn't, but I kind of understand going with one over the other. However, I really wish I was given this book in high school. I wish I read it earlier. I read it for the first time in university, and like I said in the intro, it was the most powerful book I've ever read about the importance of books, the importance of literature, the importance of devouring other people's thoughts, of having that inspiration. What if that was all taken away from us? What if we didn't have books? What if I didn't have access to all of this? Who would I be? It's something that you could think about for a long while. And then also I said that this was one of the most powerful books I've ever read on the importance of free speech, much like 1984 was. And again, I think everybody should read this book. Absolutely everybody. So now I want to give you guys a few other books that I would read after you guys have read this one, and a few movies that I would pair along with it. Before we get into that, though, I just want to throw up on screen really quick the complete works of Ray Bradbury in case you guys want to dive deeper into his literature. I myself, I've only read Fahrenheit 451, but I am planning on picking up many more of his works in the future. So I have 3 recommended books, 3 recommended films, and then I'll go over my 3 favorite quotes from the book. So my 3 recommended books that you read after you've read Fahrenheit 451, 2 of them I already have why you should read videos on. The 3rd book I'll have a why you should read video on soon. But the first book is Brave New World, and the second book is 1984. If you've seen my videos on why you should read those books, you'll know exactly why I'm connecting them to this book. All 3 of those books are kind of sci-fi, futuristic, dystopian worlds where there's a tyrannical force that's taking over society, and there's a character who's kind of become free, who's woken up, who's broken out of the Matrix, right? The Matrix definitely took a lot of inspiration from Brave New World, 1984, and Fahrenheit 451. So you have this character that wakes up to the dystopian reality that he's in, and he slowly tries to figure out where's his place in it, can he change it, and stuff like that. So Brave New World, 1984 both fit that theme, and so does my 3rd recommended book today by the great Margaret Atwood, The Handmaid's Tale. So I would also highly recommend that one as well. All 4 of those books all deal with dystopian futures, and I highly recommend all of them. As far as films, the first film that I would recommend is the 1966 Fahrenheit 451 film by Francis Truffaut. It's probably the best adaptation that you can find on Fahrenheit 451. There are a couple other adaptations out there. I'll let you guys go find them on your own. I'm not the biggest fans of them. My favorite has always been the 1966 film. So if you want a direct adaptation, I would go check out the Truffaut film. I also highly recommend Equilibrium from 2002. I could probably have put The Matrix here, but I think Equilibrium is a little bit overlooked because of The Matrix. The Matrix came out a few years earlier, and people really didn't pay attention to Equilibrium, which sucks because it's a fantastic film. So go and watch that one if you haven't. I think Christian Bale is absolutely fantastic in it. And then my 3rd recommended film for today that I would pair along with your reading of Fahrenheit 451 is 1985's Brazil by Terry Gilliam. And you'll see when you watch that film that there are a lot of similar themes, but it's also its own unique thing. Brazil is one of the most unique, interesting, out there, and zany films I've ever seen in my life, and I absolutely love it. It kind of blends dystopian sci-fi with, well, it's made by Terry and Gilliam, so there's some Monty Python-esque silliness to it too. So I love the film Brazil. I also highly recommend that one as well. Next, I want to share with you guys my 3 favorite quotes from the book. So the first one is probably the most popular quote from the entire book. It was a pleasure to burn. And in that quote, I just find this catharsis, this character who just has this pleasure for tearing things down, destroying them, destruction. There is a pleasure in that, in beating things up. I don't know if any of you guys have been into those anger rooms where you take a baseball bat and you start whacking things in the room. There is like a nice release to that. There's a pleasure to that. And if that's all you know, that's kind of all you want to do until you start realizing, hey, maybe building things, maybe preserving things also has its value. It might not have the same release as destroying things, but all of that's kind of tied up in that quote. And that's probably the most popular quote, I think, from the entire book. But my favorite quote from the book, well, one of my favorites, my next favorite is, "We need not to be let alone. We need to be really bothered once in a while. How long is it since you were really bothered about something important, about something real?" So that quote could have easily been lifted from Brave New World. If you've read Brave New World, you know that both of these books have very, very similar storylines at points. And that quote captures a feeling that I can't express any better than that. I always wonder why I kind of voluntarily look at the greatest horrors of human history and why I read books that challenge me and upset me. Why do I do this? Why do I put myself in these uncomfortable situations? Well, sometimes it's nice to be bothered. Sometimes it's nice to be pulled around and have your mind go for a little warp and see the darker side of humanity. Sometimes that's good for you. It kind of gives you a more fleshed out, more real vision of the world. And I think that that's kind of what this quote is getting across, is when you don't have any books, when you don't have anything to learn from, no thoughts from other individuals from the present or the past, it's you don't get those looks. You don't get bothered. You don't get disturbed. And that's important. That's very, very important for people, especially for those who don't have those jobs where you are shocked all the time. You know, I worked as a security guard in hospitals for a while, and I was like, every day I was seeing something that was incredibly shocking to me and bothering. And that bothered me and just disturbed me for a long time. I still have some of those images like scarred in my head. And if you don't have a job like that, you have kind of a menial office job where you do the same thing every day and you're never bothered, you're never really going to grow. You're never really going to develop or become a dynamic human being. You're going to be kind of a flat character, right? So it's important to bother yourself. And I think reading a book like this can do that for you. You don't have to burn books to destroy culture. Just get people to stop reading them. Now, I love this quote because this quote is so true today. This is why I'm making my Why You Should Read videos. This book was a big inspiration for this whole endeavor that I'm doing. I want to get other young people and just other people in general out there reading more books, because I feel like a lot of my generation today doesn't read at all. I have friends that I went to high school with that don't pick up any books now that they're out of high school, or now that they're done university. And it really saddens me, because I don't know how you're ever supposed to grow or develop or get new ideas in your head if you don't read books. It's so important, and it helps to, like I said in the quote there, preserve the culture. Like, that's a huge thing too. We want to pass these stories down to our children. You know, this book is in pretty good shape because the few times that I've read it, I've done it through audiobook. I don't actually pick up my physical copies all the time because I like to keep my books in good shape. But a big reason why I'm buying all of these books aren't just for me and to show you guys and to have a nice library. A lot of the reasons why I'm buying these books are for my children and for my grandchildren. I want to pass these stories down the generations. I don't want them to die. So that's why I own these books. That's why I have them on my shelves, because I could just do Audible for the rest of my life and be happy with that. But there's something so important about literature, about stories, and this book really gets that across. So if you're interested, please go out and read it. Come back to this video. Let me know what you guys thought about the book. I love discussing books with you guys. That's why I make all of these Why You Should Read videos. So come back to this video and let me know what you guys thought about it. And if you've already read this book and you're just watching for fun, let me know down below in the comments, how did this book change you? Why was it impactful for you? I love hearing from you guys. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, share with your friends to help boost this channel in the algorithm. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, it means the absolute world to me. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.